I'm here at the Amazeum teaching a workshop in cuttlebone casting. Mold making casting has been critical throughout history for the replication of objects and also the translation of materials, an object in, say, wax to something that's in metal or even a plastic, things of that nature. So it's been really important historically to be able to make multiples and to be able to create from maybe a soft material to something that's more durable. Nowadays we have a lot of different options for replicating. It doesn't all have to come from mold making and casting, but there's still a strong tradition of it throughout the arts and in creative space, where you use part of a bone from a cuttlefish and carve into it and cast pewter and end up with a cast metal object at the end. I am a sculptor, a maker, an educator, a fabricator. I have a background in woodworking. I did custom cabinetry for a number of years, also automotive work, so I have welding background. I fabricate in any material I can get my hands on and that I can learn about. Traditional materials and also found objects. I use digital tools for some of the fabrication as well. I started taking things apart and not necessarily putting them back together, but figuring out how like flashlights work and replicating it, you know, with the bulbs and batteries and paper clips and things outside of the case. But I've always been interested in how things work, and then once I started acquiring some skills and tools and things, how to create, put things together. I live to make, I live to create, and I've always got 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 projects going all at the same time. It's what drives me, it's what I'm passionate about. I'm always looking for ways that the two can translate. I'm not super interested in, you know, digital processes by themselves unless I can find a way to work handcraft into those things. With the cuttlebone casting, we've been able to 3D print objects, and it's soft enough that you can actually impress those objects into the cuttlebone casting. So you can digitally model something, press it into the cuttlebone, and then once it's cast, the cuttlebone casting is very organic looking, and so you can almost take something that is very rigid and digital and turn it into something more organic. We've also been able to play around with milling out different shapes into the cuttlebone, so you can get really, really crisp, precise shapes versus the more fluid shapes that you typically get from hand carving into it. Someone who's constantly driven to create, I think. You know, there are some that will make something out of necessity, and then there are some people who do it out of enjoyment, necessity also, but when I define a maker, it's someone who's passionate enough about creation that they do it when they don't have to be. Oh, it's been awesome. The space is just fantastic, and everyone's just on board. I feel like everyone's on the same page. Like, everyone wants to make all of this succeed so that people can come in, have a good time, and share that with everyone. People seem genuinely happy and enthusiastic about, you know, what they're doing here in the Amazeum, and the space is fantastic, and the resources are top notch. Yeah. You definitely can tell who spends more time like meticulously working with their hands and who spends a little bit less time. But it doesn't necessarily mean one turns out better than the other. I mean, people have made some really great things that are super simple, just like a circle with a hole in it, and just the texture of the cuttlebone comes through. So yeah, and there's not a right or wrong, which is something I love about art. Yeah, I probably am more the artist that I scrap it and start over. Yeah, I have a hard time with things not being just right. Over the years, I've had to be okay with not reaching perfection. But for me, it's always, the goal is like the best it can be. And so, yeah, I'm one who probably scraps things more than, just going with the flow and trying to turn it into something else.